All right. Welcome to Astronomy 310. Everybody's here for Astronomy 310, observational astronomy, right? Make sure we're in the right place. Okay, good. For those that don't know me, I'm Dr. Montgomery, astronomy professor here. We have like 3 of us here that are astronomy professors. So let me just ask a few questions here. How many of you are getting an astronomy minor? All of you, okay. How many of you are physics majors on the astrophysics track? Okay. How many of you took my archaeoastronomy class? Yeah, I recognize the bunch of you. How many of you have taken the solar system class? You're taking it right now? Yeah. How many took it from me? A few, okay. The other rest of you, I assume, are Dr. Williams. Yeah. Okay, or Dr. Wood. Is everybody in Dr. Williams or Dr. Wood? Dr. Williams? Okay. How many of you taken the Stars and Universe class? Oh, you guys are all in good shape. Okay. And that was from Dr. Wood? Yeah. Dr. Wood or Dr. Williams? I was Dr. Williams. Williams, okay. You took it somewhere else?
I think it was a year ago, so.
And it was online, you don't remember who the professor was? I'm just curious, it doesn't change anything, I'm just curious. If you took it from me, you have an advantage. Because in here, observation, I teach even my solar system class, like an observational class a little bit. We talk a lot about, you know, the celestial sphere and all that kind of stuff. Well, here we're gonna do that even more and in more detail because we're going out to observe. So you got to understand how that stuff is. Where Dr. Williams, he tends to just kind of gloss over that and get right to other stuff. So it's just the difference in style. Okay. It's not right or wrong. It's just, you know, we have all professors have different things they want to teach. Okay. Good. All right. I want to make sure that was recording. Here is the syllabus. We will meet in here every Monday at 6 o'clock. Okay, so no matter what, we're meeting here every Monday. Yeah, they work, but we're stronger and not too lazy to turn them on, but I will. So.
No, it's okay,
No, that's okay. I think they were. We paid the power bill. All right, so yeah, we will always meet in here at 6 o'clock. Okay, and I typically will spend the first hour lecturing. Okay, and we're going to go through this book. At least part of it. We don't do it all, but we do a big chunk of it. So. See all my markings up here. So this is the book. It's available in a bookstore or you can buy it from Amazon. It's not that expensive for a textbook. It's average. And you will be doing homework out of here too. At the end of each chapter, I will give you a homework after each lecture. Every week, essentially, you'll get a homework, except this one. This one, we're just gonna do easy stuff today. But so next Monday is Labor Day. So this class really doesn't start for like 2 more weeks, okay? 2 weeks from tonight will be our first real class. And I will go through chapter 1, which is all about celestial sphere, and then you'll have a homework. The homework will have like 3 or 4 problems I made up, and then I'll say, and do problems 6 and 8 on certain pages out of this book, okay? So I know students like, oh, I'm trying to get away without getting the book. Well, you really have to have the book or at least access to the book, okay? It covers pretty much the way stuff that I do. So it helps a lot when you're like studying for the tests. So you do need the textbook for this class. This is the textbook. Any questions about them? Yeah.
It's kind of bookstore related. The bookstore recommends something else, like for a lot of my science, a lot of my astronomy classes. It's like observational something. It's like $6.
Is it the little study guide thing they have, the fold out thing?
Is it a book? Is it like this? but really new.
I don't think it, but looking on a picture was like a little thing that held other stuff.
I don't know, I have to look at.
It was weird.
For this class, this is the only requirement. Okay, this is all you have to get. Okay. Now, I like this book. This book is really old, actually. It's the field guide to start. But when I got really interested in astronomy, I was about 13 years old and got into astronomy. And I started reading this book from cover to cover. Now there's like 14 versions since this one, so they don't look at all like this, but they still have these, what they call handbook ones. They're great if you love going out and looking at the sky, because they are great references in finding planets, stars, constellations, why you see things the way they are, how you understanding all that. It's all about that kind of stuff. It's not about, telescopes and how they work and all that. And that's a lot of that is in here. This is a lot heavier duty stuff. Okay. How many of you guys are science majors, by the way? Science, physics, engineering, any of that? You guys, humanities, business, education?
From history.
Computer science. I'm actually art.
Here's computer science and science. Art, okay.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I was just curious. Okay. Because of the way we designed the astronomy minor, anybody can get it. You can take it from any class. You don't have to be a science major. You don't have to have calculus or anything like that. So I won't use any calculus. We will use algebra, and you will have to do, math, formulas and stuff. And you will need a calculator, because you will be able to have to do assignments, and you'll have to do it for a test. And you can't use your phone on the test. Okay, so you need a calculator for the test for sure. This is fancy calculator. It doesn't have to be this fancy, but it has to be able to add, subtract, do powers, logs, okay, and inverse logs. Because astronomy, we use logarithms just because. Hey. Half hour. This is Dr. Davis. If anybody doesn't know Dr. Davis, she's the planetarium director, and she helps us out with this class because she helps out with the observatory. She's going to go open the observatory. The nice thing about that is because I'm usually the last one out of here, but she has it open so you can go right to the observatory, and I'll already be open. You don't have to wait for me to catch up. And so that's the way we're going to do it. So we're going to go out there tonight. She's going to meet us out there about 6:30.
Reminder, no facilities, no water.
Yeah, that's, if you've never been to the observatory, how many have you been to the observatory? Oh, most of you have. Okay, yeah, there are no facilities.
Yeah.
So before you leave here, when we leave after class, I say, I'll meet you out there, stop in the restroom on the way, okay? Or you can use a bush. That's all we got out there.
Stop the periscope.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see you out there in about half an hour. So yes. And office hours, my office hours are actually 11 to 12, Monday through Thursday, but you can come see me anytime. I know a lot of people have class and that's okay. Just come see me whenever. Now, I may or may not be there. I will be there during those office hours, but other times I might not be there. If you want to see me outside those times, just email me and we'll set up a time. I'm very happy to meet with everybody. Textbook, we talked about the textbook. And we will use it for homework assignments and for reference material. The course, the way I designed this course is I didn't make it, I tried to make it so it's practical. So I thought about calling it practical astronomy, meaning it's the kind of course that you can use to go outside and learn, well, if I have a telescope, how do I make it work? I get phone calls, especially when I was the planetarium director for so many years, that people would say, oh, I got this telescope for Christmas for my kids, but we don't know what to do with it. We don't know how to set it up. And I say, well, here, bring it in, I'll show you how to work it, kind of thing. Well, this is what I try to do in this class, is get you a practical knowledge of how to make things work. And we'll spend a lot of time the first part of the class doing that, setting up our telescopes. You learn to set them up, how to find things, where to look, what changes there are, like what happens when you change magnification, all that. Any of you own a telescope? How big is your telescope?
It's a, I think it's
A refractor or reflector?
it's a 70 inch. 70.
70 millimeter?
Yeah,
About 7 centimeters, something like
Yeah.
that.
about a 50.
Okay.
Mine's up fancy. I got it for Christmas. It's like it's like a Christmas gift.
Okay.
I think it's the brand's like a geyser or something like that. I think.
Okay.
I don't remember what the exact like magnification is on the top of my head, but I can.
Yeah, and that varies even in a telescope. I'll show you how to vary it. You just change the eyepiece
Yeah.
and change all that. Have you looked at things?
Just a little bit, but it's not like really strong. It's very fuzzy.
Hard to
It's
see
probably
very
not
good.
even worth mentioning.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm just curious because that's the problem with telescopes. Is to get one that's nice is very expensive.
Mhm.
And they sell cheap ones, but the cheap ones are almost not worth it, meaning you get more frustrated with the cheap ones and you're almost like, oh, I wish I hadn't got one at all kind of thing sometimes. So you come into a university, you're gonna use our telescopes, are they really nice? All right. Our telescopes average $5,000–6,000 a piece. So they're really nice, really high quality, and the telescope we use for research is $300,000. So not the kind an average person would buy. But I will show you that and we'll play with it too. So the first, or at least the first half, probably first 2/3 of the semester will be using telescopes, figuring it out. The last third of the semester is we're gonna mess around with taking pictures, which is fun. It's a challenge. It's not really a science. I tell people it's more of an art. You just take pictures and you play around and say, oh, that worked, that didn't work. Well, let's try this again and do this. And you just kind of play around until you get fancy pictures. And we'll mess around with how you take pictures and use them for research too. A little bit of the idea of what needs to be done to do research kind of projects. If you guys were all astronomy majors, I would actually make you do a research project for the class. But since that's not the case, we're just going to play around with that kind of stuff and let you see how it's done. But you don't have to actually do a project. All right, grading for this class. We're going to have 2 tests, a midterm and a final. Since we only meet on Monday nights, the midterm will be sometime in like middle of October. And then the final is the Monday before finals week. Okay, since we're not a regular class, you do it the week before finals. It's not actually scheduled on finals. But also with the class, you have to turn in a notebook. So in the notebook, I want you to have what are they called? Separators or whatever those things are. So it's just a 3-ring notebook with separators. And then each week, you're going to put in all the stuff that you do from that week. Meaning you'll put in any notes you get from that. You'll also have these. These are what I call field observation sheets. So whenever we go to the observatory, you need to take good notes. You got to start to learn to be a scientist. A scientist always takes good notes because they want to be able to refer back to them. And so we have things up here like with the date, what the temperature was, what the humidity is, what the cloud cover, the clarity of the atmosphere. We'll talk about all those things. Which telescope you use, additional information like if you use filters or anything else. And then you put down every object you look at, either write a description, draw a picture of it or something like that. So you keep track of all you do. These all go in your notebook. So by the end of the semester, you have reference of all the stuff you've seen and done during the semester. So essentially everything you do in this class should be in that notebook. You turn in the notebook at the end of the semester. Okay, and then you can have the notebook back, but you turn it in and you get a grade for it. So the 3 main grades for this class are the 2 tests, that's 1 grade, I mean, they're tests, the notebook, and then the homeworks, which are, you have a homework due each week. So I'll give you out one, not next week, but the week after, they'll be due the week after that. So when you come to the class, at the beginning of class, you turn in the homework. Okay. Questions about any of that? Okay. I don't think there's much else in there, just the usual stuff that you know. As far as the calendar, you see the calendar say a midterm around the 18th of October, but I tend to be flexible. Why? Well, we're astronomers. And astronomers are tied to the clouds, meaning if we get a lot of clear nights, then it'll probably be on that day. But if we get a lot of cloudy nights, so we can't go out to the observatory, but that day's clear, I'm not going to waste that day. That's a nice clear day taking a test. Instead, we will go out to the observatory. I'll just move the test to another day, okay? So we will plan around the weather. That's why I do it in the fall, this class, because it's better in the spring weather-wise usually. But who knows this year? I mean, this summer's been weird. We've been very humid. Usually we're not as humid this is, but we're usually hotter. So I kind of trade off. Usually we're 100 and some degrees, but it's not as humid. This summer it's never got like above 95, but our humidity is so bad it feels atrocious. It feels like 110. So I don't know what's going to happen in the fall. We never know what's going to happen in the fall. So typically I plan the whole semester for about 50%, because that's about what I usually get. I've been teaching this class for what, 11 years now. And in a typical fall, I get 11, or I'm, out of the 15 weeks, we get about half those when we actually get to go to the observatory. When we don't go to the observatory, you get a really short night. So it makes it really easy on you. We'll come in here, we'll lecture. Now I do have a couple of activities we will do here if it's cloudy, but still will be done before, 8 o'clock at the latest probably. It won't be long. When we go out to the observatory, we may be there a long time. It kind of depends. I usually have a task or several tasks that we do each time we go there. We will do specific things, and it depends on how long it takes you to get that done. If you get it done fairly quickly, then you can leave. If it takes you longer, we will be out there. This is scheduled till 10 or something like that. Yeah. Now, early in the semester, one of the reasons we're not going to stay out tonight is because it doesn't really even get dark till after 9 something, closer to 9:30 before it's even dark. I think the sun sets around a little after 8, but you got to get dark. We want to get, that's almost 40 minutes to an hour later. So, but it gets better as the semester goes on, right? And especially once we hit November, because then we go to the time change and then it's dark before you even come to this class, right? It's like dark by like 5 o'clock. So it gets better as the semester goes on. We get darker and darker. Also, the telescopes do better the longer after sunset because they cool off and the night cools off. And once you get rid of all that heat, you can see things better. And so right away in the night, things are kind of fuzzy and blurry, but then they get better as the night goes on. And usually later in the semester it gets better too, especially if the temperature goes down. Hot and humid is terrible for astronomy, especially humid. Hot isn't bad, but humid is bad. Makes the air all thick, kind of hazy. Not good for astronomy. All right. So these, I was going to hand these in. So here, just pass these around. Take like 3 or 4 of them, and I'll give you more as the semester goes on. And keep those. Those are the observational sheets. All right. So, how many of you have taken the astronomy lab course? Only 3 of you.
I'm taking it this semester.
There's astronomy lab course.
Well, we do have, well, we were supposed to have an astronomy lab course this semester, but there were only 3 students, so we had to cancel it. But as part of the astronomy minor, you have to have the astronomy lab course. It's a 1-hour course.
Oh, I think actually, I think it was on Zoom last year.
Yeah, last year was done online. Usually we don't. Usually it's done mostly in the planetarium.
Okay.
And in that class, you learn the constellations. So what I'm trying to figure out is, do you guys know your constellations?
Oh, yes, yes.
Oh, I know 3 or 4. I don't know. I didn't really count out how many I had, but just so everybody can get some. And I'll make more as the semester goes on.
Yeah, I'm taking so many lessons.
They just all blur together.
Yeah, I was like, which lab?
All right, so let's just do a quick quiz. Name a constellation that's up right now when we go out to the observatory.
Cygnus.
Cygnus. Oh, we got a winner. Any other ones? What'd you say? You said it together. I can't hear. No, not up yet. Scorpio. Somebody said Scorpio. Scorpio's right. What else? Lyra. Okay. Aquila. Yeah. Or Ikea. Yeah. Lupus. No, Lupus is a winner.
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius is a. You mean Ursa?
No, Lupus.
Lupus.
It's up a little.
Oh,
It's just a
Lupus.
little pizza right over there.
maybe. All right, I thought you meant Lepus, the rabbit. No. That's by Orion, so no, it's not up at this time. Okay, and what bright stars do we know? Vega, good. Aldebaran, yes. But is that up right now? What constellation is Aldebaran? Aldebaran is not up. That's Taurus, yeah.
I got confused. They're both A and
Antares, good. Antares is in what constellation? Scorpio, good.
What?
I feel like serious.
These aren't.
Sirius is not up, no. What we're seeing right now is mostly summer sky. Like, oh, we're into the fall, but we're into the transition. It's mostly summer we're gonna see right now, early in the night. As the semester goes on, Altair, yeah, we're gonna start to get more fall. We'll never really quite get winter. We just don't stay up a lot. Deneb, good? Yep.
I'm just going to the start off, but I
Yeah, so the summer sky constellations are what we're gonna see. We even see a hair of the spring. Still, you're like, the spring, we're already in September, but they take a long time to go down, especially the further north that they are. Okay, what is Ursa Major? Big Dipper. Is this a good time to see Ursa Major?
A little bit late.
Oh, what's the W constellation? Cassiopeia. And they're opposite each other on the north, from the North Star, right? So one's up, one's down. Which is the better to see at this time of year? Cassiopeia is better. Ursa Major is a spring constellation. It's diving down real low, and so you're not going to see much. But Cassiopeia is starting to come up high. Good. All right. Just checking to see if we know much. All right. How many of you have been to the observatory? You already said that. Do you know how to get there? All right. How many of you have cars and can drive?
Not near.
Not near.
Mine's parked at PC.
Okay. So those of you that don't have a car with you right now, can somebody give you a ride? You guys got a ride? Does everybody got a ride out there? Is what I'm making sure.
I think I have room for one.
I can carry 4.
Oh, well, that's like half the class.
I think that covers everyone.
Are you guys good? Everybody's got a way out there? Good? Okay. Do you know where you're going?
Yes,
I forgot the directions. Good. All right.
It's right before the Go Lion sign.
What's the county road like? It's 40.
It's 4208. So yeah, just head out like you're going out 50 until you get to 4208, turn left, and you go about, you kind of wind around a little bit, about a half a mile, and then there's a road into the side. No, you don't need those tonight, okay? Those are future. So I will see you out there in a few minutes.
You don't need a what?
You don't need to take notes tonight, just take those with you, okay?